afternoon and evening, wherever you are. As you can see, I'm here based in the UK and it's very dark outside, so it's definitely evening time for us here. But thank you so much for joining this afternoon's presentation, and I hope to be able to bring a little bit of Kenyan sunshine into your screens wherever you may be. As just a bit of housekeeping before we start, our webinars are always recorded, so I'll be sending you a follow-up email with a copy of the recording and all the images and rates and information you may need on Naibor Camps. So don't worry if you do have to leave halfway through, you can catch up with the recording. Please feel free to write in the chat box if you have any questions, or the Q&A box if you have any questions, and I'll be very happy to answer them. So Naibor Camps is actually Small World Marketing's oldest client. We've been working with them for 16 years since we set the company up, and all those years ago. And I can count on one hand the number of complaints I've had about the camp. It literally it is a really safe sell in terms of the location, the food, the experience. It always delivers. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview now and more information about the camps, and to hopefully be able to help you sell Naibor Camps more confidently. So Naibor is located in the Maasai Mara Reserve. So you see here on this map, we have Wilson Airport in the centre of Nairobi. It's about a 40-minute flight from Wilson Airport down to the reserve itself, and the nearest airstrip is Olkiombo airstrip. From the airstrip to the camp, it's about a 20-minute drive, but that is a safari drive, it's a game drive. As soon as you get into the vehicle, you're in the heart of the reserve, so you have animals all around you. And so it's a prime location, particularly for the wildebeest crossing and the wildebeest migration, which happens in the reserve in Kenya from like July through to October time. So as you can see, the Maasai Mara Reserve borders onto the Serengeti National Park in Tanzania. So it's this huge tract of land where the wildebeest and zebra can do this amazing migration up from the Serengeti, following the rains and the grasses. The prime time really is kind of August, September time to see the migration in the reserve, but it does really go from July through to October. I was there in October with my family, late October, and we still had a lot of wildebeest all around us. So we had the remnants of the migration that hadn't yet moved down to walk back to the Serengeti and to the grasses. So Naibor Camp, as you can see, is right in the heart of the reserve itself. It's about a 10-minute drive from the nearest wildebeest crossing. It's next to Rakero Camp, and it's about a 20-minute drive from Olkiombo, the airstrip. So this is a rather basic map, but it actually does the job pretty well, showing you a layout of the camp. So you have three elements to Naibor. You have Naibor Wilderness. What I'll do here is we have Naibor Wilderness, and there's 3 tents of Naibor Wilderness. And then you have Main Naibor, which has 7 tents, and Little Naibor, which has 2 tents, but with each tent has 2 bedrooms inside it. Naibor Wilderness tends to be used for a lot of private photography groups or small groups traveling together, or for people whose budgets don't stretch to Main Naibor. The tents are, the experience in terms of the guiding, the food, the location is exactly the same. The main difference is the tents are slightly more simple in design. So as you'll see in this presentation, the tents in Naibor Wilderness are more kind of wrought iron style, whereas the tents in Main Naibor, you see in the middle image, are this lovely kind of chunky wooden furniture. But the tent sizes themselves are exactly the same. The key difference is location as well. They're set back slightly from the river, but essentially you have the same size tents, same experience. It's just the design is the key differentiating point between the two. And then Little Naibor are these 2 tents with 2 bedrooms inside each tent, which work brilliantly for families. So just going back to the slide before with the layout of the camp. So you have the Talek River with a little resident pod of hippo down here. So you have the Naibor Wilderness with their own little private dining mess area. And then Main Naibor running along the river. And then you have the main mess area here in the bend. And then around the corner you have Little Naibor with the two kind of suites. So it's all located relatively close to each other. It's in quite dense bush, so it's really clever because you cannot see into the other rooms, or so it feels like it's very private, even though actually the area isn't massive, so you can very easily move from your tent to the main mess area. So just a quick overview. So it's situated on the Talek River, right in the heart of the reserve. It's a 40-minute flight from Wilson Airport, or 6 hours by road from Nairobi. The road from Nairobi down to the Mara now is infinitely better. but it is still quite a long drive. So, and the internal scheduled flight network within Kenya is so good that I would definitely recommend flying. The rates are very affordable, particularly when you bear in mind that they have special offers that run throughout the year. So they have 4 nights for the price of 3 that runs throughout the year, and then 3 nights for the price of 2 in our low season. So that makes it very, very affordable. And then obviously activities, well, the main activity you do there is you're right in the heart of the reserve, you're right in the heart of this unbelievably prime game viewing area. So it's mainly focused around game drives. We can also do game walks. We go to Talek, the Talek Reserve Talek Conservancy to do the game walks. That's about a 40-minute drive away. And that can be done through Naibor, and it's an amazing experience. We actually have a lot of guests who combine the reserve with the conservancy. We often get asked by agents, what's the difference? And the key difference is really the reserve is this incredibly dense game experience, but the conservancies have obviously a great game experience as well, but more to do in terms of because they're privately managed, they are more flexible in terms of activities they can do. So you can do night drives, walking, bush dinners. So they're more flexible in terms of activities, but the game viewing, they may argue, it is not as good as in the conservancies. The conservancies often dispute that fact. But when I was there in October, I saw so many vehicles from the lodges and the conservancies, which I did chuckle to myself and think, well, they say how great game viewing is there, which is also good. But in the reserve, it's just this intensity of you're right in the middle of the big cat area, the intense game viewing area. So these are the special offers that we run throughout the year. 4 nights for the price of 3 throughout the whole year, and then 3 nights for the price of 2 in our low season, which is 3rd of Jan through to middle of July, and then 1st of November through to 20th of December. So it makes it very, very affordable. So just looking at main Naibor first, the 7 tents in main Naibor, they've got this beautiful big chunky furniture, very light fabric, really kind of light and open and spacious. Ensuite bathrooms with safari showers, and you cannot outstay a safari shower. The buckets are enormous, and there's plenty of water. People always panic when they think there's not plumbed water, but actually there's something quite romantic about a safari shower. They're so efficient at bringing you the water, and it's you can definitely stay there for a long, long time. So it's really quite. It's a quintessential safari camp, but very, very spacious and very comfortable as well. So Little Naibor has these 2 bedrooms with a lounge area in between with 2 en-suites on either end. So this works brilliantly for families. This is where I stay with my family. We have 3 kids, and there is plenty of space for all 3 kids in that second room. So you can easily fit a family of 5 in there. Family of 6 might be a little bit more of a squash, depends how old the kids are and how much they mind being squeezed together, but definitely a family of 5 would be perfect. And then this lovely lounge area in between. So the style in Little Naibor is slightly more Moroccan in style, more kind of wooden floorboards, more Moroccan style, but yeah, it works really, really well for families because you have your space and your own privacy. So in Little Naibor, you have your own vehicle, you have your own little campfire area. It's really designed for you to be totally private, but what we find a lot of guests really enjoy doing is coming to the main mess area and eating with the other guests and chilling out in the main mess area, because as you'll see here, it's very beautiful, it's very spacious. They have this lovely wooden platform overlooking the Talek River and onto the plains on the other side. Just really nicely designed. They have Wi-Fi here, which is very, very good, actually. I was surprised how good it is. It's better than my house here, probably in the UK. They don't have it in the rooms, they just have it in this main area here. And then in terms of dining, they have this beautiful big dining table where in the dinner it's hosted dining. So it's more kind of, I suppose, slightly more formal dining. In fact, it's like 3-course meal, you are hosted. If you've got guests that don't want to be hosted, want to be private, that's absolutely not a problem. They're very happy to do private dining experiences as well. This is actually a photo I took of my our delicious lunch. So lunches tend to be, in terms of the foods throughout the day, you get woken up with your wake-up call with your little cookies, and you go out on your game drive and you'll have your breakfast out. So it's much more because they're in the reserve, they can't cook a full breakfast, because the reserve don't allow them to do that, but they have a picnic, basically a breakfast picnic, and it's amazing. It's a big spread, so you don't go hungry at all. You then come back and we have lunch around 1 o'clock, which is much lighter salads and really lovely kind of buffet style, but very light food. And then dinner is more formal dining, 3 courses, where you're being hosted. But as I say, if you've got clients that don't want to be hosted, that's not a problem. They can have their own private dinner as well. We also have a spa tent, which is very popular, and I'm not surprised. The masseuse is amazing. I was there in October and lucky enough to have a massage just as the thunderstorm was happening. So it probably wasn't the most relaxing massage in terms of me being able to fall asleep, but it was quite dramatic, which was quite an experience. But she's amazing, and yeah, the spa tents, they do all kinds of treatments there. So the most important and most popular is the massage. And actually every guest gets a complimentary 15-minute shoulder massage when they first arrive as well, which is lovely. And once they've experienced that, they nearly always book in for a full massage as well. So now looking at Naibor Wilderness, slightly more simple in style, as I said, really big spacious rooms still though, water and furniture. Naibor Wilderness has these 3 units, and then there's communal mess area as well. So this is used often for private, small guided groups, or if you've got a small group traveling together, this is perfect. But even if you have a client, a couple who are traveling and their budget doesn't stretch to main Naibor, they will stay in Naibor Wilderness and they will be totally incorporated into the main mess area. They'll have all their meals there. They won't feel at all like they're in the kind of cheaper rooms, so to speak. The whole area is so dense, you can't look into each other's rooms, so you won't even see what the different rooms are like. And you'll basically be, included in the main Naibor mess area, like all the other guests are as well. So in terms of family travel, which obviously is what I've just done in October with my family. So this is my youngest, Ella, who's 8. And I think in a way I wanted to, we're very lucky to have taken our kids to Africa 3 times now, and actually 4 times. And I wanted to wait until I took them to Kenya, because for me, this is really where my heart is, and for me, it's the ultimate kind of safari experience. And I wanted them to appreciate just how special it was. And I think particularly being somewhere like the reserve, where it's just such that density of game, it's just phenomenal. But one thing that really struck me is because it's so game rich, it's just amazing for children, because there's constantly something to see and there's something exciting to see. So there's no bumping around trying to find animals. They are everywhere. But also we were lucky enough to have our amazing guide, Jackson, who's an incredible photographer. And he actually shared his photos with us, which was lovely, because normally I'm there trying to take photographs and they're never quite as good as you want them to be. And to have a photographer there who's also taking photos of us as a family was lovely. But I think in terms of family travel, people always say to me, in what age should kids go on safari? I think younger than 8. I think personally it's just, going on safari is expensive. It's almost a bit of a waste sometimes if they don't appreciate it. But also it can be quite long, bumping around, that they need to be old enough to A, listen to instructions when the guide gives them, B, not moan that they're getting bored when they're looking at, an elephant, and they're unbelievably lucky to be doing that. So I think really age 8 and over is the perfect age to go on safari. But it's also simple things like this. If you stop for a sundowner, the boys were messing about, enjoying, they are climbing a tree with a zebra in the background, and just going on safari is just the most amazing learning experience, and it's a natural educational experience. You just are hungry to learn more, and particularly the guides are so good at explaining things in a very simple way to children, which I found I just you just can't, when you're, even as a parent, you just can't explain it nearly as clearly as they can. In terms of activities, obviously you're right in the heart of the reserve. So the main activity is the game drives and getting out and seeing the game. Hot air ballooning, we can also organise through our reservations office. It's always worth booking it in advance, because it does get booked up, but it is an amazing experience. It is quite expensive. It's about $550 per person. We did feel the children were not old enough to really appreciate spending that kind of money on them, so we didn't go. I haven't actually ever done a balloon safari, but people say to me it's absolutely amazing. So we will do one day, but you've got to leave something to come back for. Walking safaris, if we've got clients who want to do walking safaris, which many of them do if they're doing the 4 for 3 stay, and therefore staying slightly longer, we take them to the Talek Conservancy, which is about a 40-minute drive away, and do the walking safari there. Cultural visit. This was a really great thing I hadn't done before, despite having worked with Naibor for many, many years. I was a bit apprehensive beforehand, just wondering if it was going to be very touristy, but it was the most amazing experience. Mainly because Naibor go to a village where most of their staff have come from. So they have a very, very strong relationship with the village. It's not a touristy village at all. Yes, they did get out their necklaces and their beaded products to sell to us at the end, but gosh, you can't blame them. They've had 2 years of not a huge number of tourists. And it was just the most amazing experience for the kids to experience and also for us to see. But also, one thing I always love about taking children to Africa on safari is the kids are always so delighted to have other children to play with, and you take a ball into the mix and suddenly they've got this amazing game going on. Although it was hilarious seeing the African kids obviously having not seen a rugby ball before, which obviously can bounce and go off in different directions, and they were very confused but very entertained by that. So I'd always recommend, if you've got clients traveling with children, always take a football or a deflated football or rugby ball that you can blow up, and then you've immediately got a whole kind of friendship group for the kids to connect with. So the reserve really has got exceptional game viewing. There's a reason it can get popular and therefore busy, and there's a reason for that, because it just has this unbelievable density of game there. These are the shots that Jackson, our guide, took whilst we were with him. We saw everything. It was just amazing. We were there 3 nights and just saw the most phenomenal game viewing. And then obviously you have the great migration that comes through from July through to October. Again, this can be a busy time of year, but I spoke to Jackson, our guide, quite a lot about this, because this is something we've often heard is, it can get really busy during the migration. But he just said it is, but they go to areas where other guests don't go, so they're main crossing points, but actually there's a couple of smaller ones. You don't get the huge numbers of wildebeest, you get a much more private experience, and he said that's where they take their clients, is these more private areas. But it's phenomenal seeing millions and millions of wildebeest coming up and crossing that river, and it's one of the natural world's most amazing spectacles. So it's an absolute must. So in summary, why Naibor? I think the location really is key. It's right in the heart of the reserve. As soon as you drive out the camp, you're in the midst of this amazing game viewing area. We've got 3 different types of accommodation that suit every different budget and different, very, very spacious guest tents. It is a classic safari in style. It's big game viewing. We've always had excellent feedback. It's just a very safe sell because your clients will be very happy. But also it's very, very, very good price point. With their special offers that run throughout the year, the 4 for 3 throughout the year, and then 3 for 2 during our loan period, it means it's very, very affordable as well. I'm just going to finish with a film that's narrated by Nigel Archer, who actually is one of the owners of Naibor Camps, who is I think it's 4th generation Kenyan, and he's actually a private guide himself as well. So he actually is him telling you a little bit more about Naibor, and he can do it far more eloquently and impactfully than I can. So I'm going to leave you with his words.
Naibor is a Maasai word, but it basically means clarity, space, whiteness, simplicity. The Mara, until you experience it, is very hard to actually describe. You've got the altitude, you've got the big blue skies, you've got incredible scenery, and the most amazing wildlife. The first time I saw the Mara, it was probably when I was 4 or 5 years old. And I can remember just driving in here with my old man and just seeing the big, beautiful open plains just dotted with wildlife. It inspired me back then, and it still inspires me. Naibor is located in the heart of the Maasai Mara. The beauty of our location, we're right in the middle of where everything happens. And when it comes to the big cats, when it comes to buffalo, elephant, literally everything is on our doorstep. Naibor is a traditional East African safari-style tented camp. Beds are big, spacious, comfortable beds, feather pillows, hot showers, space, simplicity. That's basically what we offer here at Naibor. Exceptional game drives. You can very easily expect to see the big 5. Some great cultural experiences can be had. Hot air ballooning. If you've been sitting in the car for a few hours, it's quite nice just to be able to have a nice massage. Sundowners are a favourite. When you're coming back in the evening, just had some remarkable game viewing. So then you stop under a tree, have a gin and tonic, watch the sun go down. I think the memories that I'd like guests to take home with them once they've stayed at Naibor is the smiling faces of all the staff, the hippos in front of the camp, the food, comfortable bed, and a really nice hot shower. A lot of people will ask me what's special about Naibor. It's just an incredible safari location. For a pure wildlife experience, it's very hard to beat Naibor.